Nigerians, Peter Obi don break another record. Make una lis ten to dis video. Dis lawyer don expose Tinubu for the sake of peace. Make una no allow Tinubu or any AP supporter to come across dis particular video because dis interview na bomb. Make una come hear wetin dis lawyer, wetin dey expose for inside dis particular video. How or wetin wan happen for 2027 election and so many things dem wey be like say dey react to about the happenings in dis country, but na wetin come talk at the ending of dis video na wetin shock me. Make una make say una share dis video because Peter Obi and other Nigerians need to watch dis video.
The reality of now.
Do you think these people care?
I'll tell you something, Victor. I'm a student of history, proudly so, and a student of revolutionary processes, proudly so. Victor, Mahatma Gandhi said something, that there comes to a time when even the devil has a conscience. And my mentor, Martin Luther King Jr., would say that oftentimes in history, people will tell you, is it possible? It is not possible. And that the difference between it is the urgency of the moment. Maybe if you'd asked me if they care 5, 6 years ago, I could have doubts. But with the reality of now, if they don't care, then something must be wrong with them. And I'm saying this without doubts. If they don't care, Victor, you wake up and you hear that thousands of people are on the streets in Lagos. Just 3 days ago, a senior advocate of Nigeria brought out over 30,000 Nigerians to the streets of Lagos. Femi Falana. Same day, the young man, VDM, brought out thousands of people to the streets in Abuja. Across the country, there are protestations calling for the release of our young brothers and sisters who were taken away in Oyo, some in Borno, some in Zamfara, and you'd think it's a joke? The whole politics is so badly heated up, Victor. I'm not an emotional student. I'm not emotive in my logic. I just face it. This country and this government can ill afford heating up the polity more than it already is. It cannot. Anybody who thinks that it is possible to overlook the urgency of now must have that brain re-examined. Perhaps the person is high on some narcotic. Because I think that Nigeria is so charged, as you and I talk, that I'm even worried. I'll give you a practical story. My mom is an American citizen. She lives in America. She's about 80. I was speaking with my mom a few days ago, and what was her advice to a 55-year-old man? Dumebi, that's my native name. Be careful about where you go to. Be careful about what you do. I hear that's how bad it is. Everyone who's talking to you from the diaspora thinks that this house is on fire already. So anybody who tells you that they don't care must also have his or her brain examined, because those who think that it does not matter must have something wrong somewhere. You don't look at a country that is heated up in every respect. There's hunger, disease, and decay. There's abrasive insecurity. And you know what bothers me? The new business after fraud in leadership is kidnap for ransom across the Nigerian space. Not just Northeast, North Central, or Northwest. Everywhere in the country is kidnap for ransom as the second biggest business after government. That's how tragic it has become. And then as you and I talk, those who are saying that we have an alternative, you're saying to them you cannot pursue your calling through a reckless ruling of a court, and you think that INEC will wake up and say, oh, a court said we should deregister, and just like that? It's impossible, Victor. I think that some people, unfortunately, are unaware that there is a loose gasoline tank somewhere, and the right to keep it shut and locked up simply depends on how responsible and responsive leadership and government is. And to do otherwise is to allow an implosion, either from outside or an explosion across the political space. So I think that everyone who truly cares about our country, like yours sincerely would say, must rise up to say to Mr. President, ask those who are around you to stop the shenanigans, and ask the judiciary to stay true to justice, and ask those who perhaps court jesters and a bit of or senseless partisan to understand that Nigeria will be better off if you allow the opposition to thrive. And if we go to the 2027 contestation, electoral contestation, as brothers contesting ideas and ideals, rather than people who are ready to pull a dagger or put a bullet through the throat or the neck of any other person. I think that the time has come for us to understand that if we allow the process to us until 2027 to be free, fair, and credible, Nigeria will be better off for it.
Let's step out from the court and the political parties that the court is asking to be deregistered. Let's look at the broader political environment. The ADC has picked Rotimi Amechi as its vice presidential candidate. What's your assessment and what's your take?
Victor, I still think that something will happen somewhere. I still hope that the opposition will understand the urgency of now. I told you the last time I was with you that my greatest commitment now is project vote competency and capacity. And what informs that is the fact that I want to see leaders, true leaders, sincere leaders emerge on our political kaleidoscope. And what do I simply mean? I want to see men who can sacrifice their individual needs, ambition, and ego for the collective good. Standing clearly on what is visible and obvious. If we have 1920 presidential candidates running against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it's obvious he will win landslide. It's obvious. I don't care what people say about this. It doesn't mean that I like him. It means that I'm being realistic and I'm thinking about the need to have a country that works. If you have an Atiku Abubakar on the ballot with Rotimi Amechi as his running mate, if you have a Peter Gregory Obi on the ballot with Kwakwanso as a running mate, if you have my big brother and friend, Benga Olawekbo Hashim on the ballot, if you have my brother Shore on the ballot, if you have several other eggheads on the ballot, all contesting against one president that is allegedly a non-performer, you're invariably saying, oh, continue. Because the truth is that you will divide the votes saying we do not want President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to continue. All those voters will vote across these tendencies, and all those who want Bola Ahmed Tinubu to continue will vote for him. So clearly, logically, you're saying we want President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to come back. That is why I'm unable to assess the individual candidates in the opposition. I think, like I prayed the last time I was here, and I've written several times and I've spoken about this reality in several sister stations of yours. I've said that I will turn out boldly to support any candidate in the opposition when the opposition meets to realize that we need a formidable candidate who can go to the polls against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That was exactly what Bola Ahmed Tinubu did in supporting Buhari in 2015. Understanding that if you have so many strong candidates coming out from the opposition. They will divide the votes of the opposition, and President Jonathan will return in 2015. They coalesced around around the candidacy of Muhammadu Buhari, and that was how in 2015 Jonathan was defeated. If we truly want a new order other than the present, we must meet. It is not too late to do that. And I've said clearly, and I'm saying it here, Victor, that I will continue to nudge that understanding until the month of September. When in the month of September, the opposition does not understand the urgency of now and the reality, then along with those who believe with me that the time to vote competency and capacity is now, we'll reevaluate the issues and we'll tell Nigerians what we think. Because you see, every time I discuss with eggheads and those who truly care about our country, what we pray is that something gives. I talk to broadcasters and they say, I pray something gives. I talk to men in the military, they say, we pray something gives. I talk to people who are in the civil society and they say they pray something gives. And I have tried to interrogate what this something gives connotes. And in my simple understanding, it's either of two things. It's either the opposition understands the reality and coalesces, or for me, my wish is either that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wakes up to the urgency of now and decides to ensure that the security challenges across this country is dealt with. I'm not one of those who hate any candidate. I don't. And that's why I've told people, a few days ago, I was on a sister station and people, rather than address the fundamental issues of my dialectics and debate, were saying, oh, he has abandoned Peter Gregory. Peter Gregory knows that I haven't abandoned him. I haven't abandoned any politician. I have abandoned everyone who doesn't understand that the urgency of now is to build a country that works for the masses of our people. I'll debate any human being about that urgency, and I will fight for that reality. That's why I suffered under IBB, I suffered under Abacha, and I've continued to fight for an egalitarian society. I'm not emotional. I'm not one of those who will listen to a raging mob who does not understand our story and our history. We have fought for a country that works, and we will continue to fight for a country that works. I'm not one of those who will come to the media to say horrible things about people that I know nothing about. I make you laugh. You know my position. Anybody who researches my position knows. In one of the reactions to my last media outing, somebody said, oh, he has since joined Atiku. And Atiku must have had a laugh in his room because he knows I do not support his quest for the presidency. Not because he's from the north. Understand it. And I did not support Peter Gregory in 2023 because he's from the southeast. I supported Peter Gregory in 2023 because I checked through the cards. And in terms of decency, in terms of financial discipline and decorum, which of course is one of the challenging issues and decima in today's Nigeria, he came tops. Other issues regarding his leadership style and all that, I may not have known. But at that point, I supported him based on the facts that I hold dear. The reason I cannot support an Atiku Abubakar is fundamentally generational connect. And he knows what I mean. Number two, we must wake up to the point where we can tell Nigerians that the young can actually aspire. And then number three, Atiku hasn't proven to me, I'm a leadership tutor, that he has done well as a leader. A true leader can mentor people who can carry along and move forward with his aspirations. Remember, maybe if Nelson Rolihlahla Salau Mandela were a Nigerian, after one term as president of South Africa, people will go singing, "On your mandate we stand for him," and asking him, just like they have done with Biya in Cameroon, that is the Almighty. I think that leaders should be able to mentor people. And that's where I have a problem, Victor. I feel led by the universe to say this. Every candidate who is running for Senate, who has been a governor, governed the state for 8 years or for 4 years, and you wake up after that and you want to be a senator, after having been an executive governor of a state, you want to be a lawmaker representing 1/3 of the state. For 8 years, you couldn't tutor one person who can go to the Senate to represent your constituency. I think they're all failures. Let me say this and let posterity hold me responsible for this declaration. Let me say it now. There's no need hiding it. So everybody who comes to politic about the salvation of Nigeria, I look at you and ask myself, you were governor for 8 years. You superintended over the state with executive powers, and you ask your people to give you mandate to go back to the National Assembly, 1/3 of the state, to represent them. So for 8 years that you were governor, you couldn't find somebody in your constituency to mentor and make sure he carries the flag to the Senate. That's a failure. People should stop grandstanding about their commitment to democracy. Anybody who does that is either beholden of power and the largesse of power, or beholden of ego, age, and egocentricity, or beholden to the perks of office, corruption, and fraud. There is no other logic. Leaders, great leaders must show the way. Great leaders must train people. Anybody who has governed the state for 8 years, Victor, and wants to come to the Senate because that's what they've turned the Senate to, a retirement center, a retirement home, is not sincere, is not a sincere leader. Nigerians must understand that and confront that reality. People should stop gaslighting Nigerians. And the time has come for young people to begin to interrogate this. I don't care.
All right, the NDC is facing a measure of internal crisis. And the first media appearance of the national leader of the party, Senator Seriake Dixon, on one of the television programs centered around those issues. But at the end of that appearance, so much came out, including what a lot of persons have perceived to be presenting himself as having a larger-than-life posture than even his presidential and vice presidential candidates, especially when he asks questions about who is more qualified than me. And a lot of persons are saying that was paradise lost, an opportunity to market the party, market his presidential candidate, and not an opportunity for comparison. What do you make of that?
Any candidate, anybody who is in the Senate, who was governor for 8 years, cannot come to me to tell me about his sense of decorum, decency, and dignity. I won't listen. I see him like one of those who is beholden to power, beholden to clear lights, one of those who have a drum major issue. And that's what it is. You saw that interview. I saw it. And I said to myself, oh, wonder, let's suppose that the NDC produces the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You know the kind of problem the party will have with the leadership? He was invariably, I am the Alpha and Omega of the party. I call the shots. I'm more qualified than my vice presidential candidate. I'm more qualified than he was. I'm doing them a favor. You know, and I sit back to look at the politics and the politics of our country. I look at the optics. Victor, have you wondered why in almost 6 weeks I haven't written an article? What I was doing almost every week.
Thank you for watching that video. So guys, before you leave, look at the down here. Do well to subscribe and also put on notification bell so that whenever we upload any video in this great platform, you will be the first to see it. And please don't forget to drop your comment at the comment section what you think about this video, your opinion as well. See guys, this is where I'm going to end the video, and I will see you guys some other time.